this might be a good time to pivot to talk about Bunnyluvr, which screens today, 3 p.m., Memorial Hall. Tell us about this film. What is it about? You are one of the stars. You play the estranged father of the main character. It's directed by Katarina Zu, who plays she's really the star of the film. She plays your daughter. You bump into each other in the streets of Chinatown after not seeing each other for years, right? Take it from there.
Right, so the story is Katarina Ju is a cam girl in New York City. It's just trying to find her way about, right? It's like Gen Z. And one day she's just, trying to go to work, trying to run an errand for her boss, and the boss is on her case. And she bumps into her estranged father she hadn't seen in 13 years. He left the family. He'd never responded again to her. And it was just a really awkward moment, and it was the moment where they realized both that they can sort of like resurrect this relationship and like see what we missed out on in the last 13 years. So they go, they have coffee, and she finds out that he's sick. He's actually dying. They don't say that in the film, but I hope you all don't mind about spoilers. I don't care about spoilers because I just see a film and it's a whole other thing, right? You see the film.
I think they're into it.
Right. So anyway, so they strike up the relationship again, and we find out that the movie starts to unfold, and it's about finding love in New York City, right? So she meets me. She tries to resurrect this, reinvigorate or rediscover what family relationship is between father and daughter. Then we see that she has friendships that she's dealing with, like they're kind of like hot and cold friends. She has an ex-lover that is hot and cold, right? You don't really know what's going on, but they get together here and whenever they just want to hook up. And then she's a cam girl too, right? So there's this sort of skewed vision of romantic love. And she's just looking for a way to belong and find herself in society in New York City. The beautiful thing about this film is it, to me, it represents how an artist can use their work as a tool to heal trauma. So Katarina is, first of all, a young Asian woman. It's her first feature film. So she has all these things going against her in Hollywood. As you know, it's really difficult to make a film. It's extra hard to make a film if you're a woman. Extra hard to make a film if you're a young woman and it's your feature film. So there was a lot of pressure on her, and I saw the way she worked. It's just, her integrity, her passion, her vision, it just kind of drove everyone, it was infectious. So we all just hopped right on board. And but that storyline is true in her real life, that her father left the family. And I know I've told this before on interviews, and Katarina doesn't mind, but so she's never found her father. He really is out there, right? But in the movie, the father dies. She helps him, she eases him, she accompanies him to his, as he succumbs to death in the hospital, and she buries him in a very, beautiful way. It's just so caring.
And I'll say I simultaneously admire and am skeptical of how her character responds to bumping into her father. He had been absent for so many years, and she seems all too willing and so quickly responds to him. And I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you never know how the edit's going to come out when you're making a film, right? It's written in the story, you shoot, you have the footage, the editor has it, and then when you're in the room editing the final thing, and you have music and all this other stuff, and you just don't know how the scene's going to play out, the feeling of things, and she had a style, a genre, a film in mind, a feeling of this film, and it was a very special genre. It's like if you're watching something like a Jim Jarmusch film. It has its own voice and tone. So she was going for that. And sometimes when you do a film like that, you kind of lose, or you might miss out on a real character decision. It's like, would I do that? Because it's not like realism, right? So you might, I think some audience members might have to think, just get caught up in the film for its tone and try not to question, But that's everyone's, that's the beauty of storytelling and filmmaking, is everyone's going to have their own interpretation and feeling, right? Yeah.
And I don't think it's a deficit of the film. It just made me think deeply about my own relationships and avoidance, I think, as a coping mechanism too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And as I said, on the flip side of the coin, I really admired her character's decision to just pursue that relationship, rekindling it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes, like when you asked earlier whether it was a responsibility or something, to have something, it's like sometimes when you're young, you don't know it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
You just kind of go with the flow. I think at that moment for her, it was just kind of like, I don't know any better. So I'm young and this is all happening. I'm just going to go with the flow at the moment.
Well, also, so much about the story resonated with me. I grew up in New York City. I went to college there. I went to grad school there as well, and I eventually left when I was 33. And I love New York City so much more now that I visit. Now when I'm a visitor, because it really feels like it's only for the incredibly wealthy or the incredibly rich. And at 33, running a tiny arts organization, I was neither at that point, constantly exhausted, and it can be an alienating place despite the huge population, right? So there was so much, and I don't want to sort of describe her reunion with her father as being like a desperate move, but yeah, I could see New York as sort of playing into that decision, right? New York really is a character.
Oh, I love
film.
New York City films because New York City is like the star of many films that are shot in New York, and that's, I saw, the wonderful thing about filming in New York City, and she filmed in Chinatown from my character, and the casting director cast a lot of my friends in the sort of supporting background roles, which I didn't know. So when I would show up on set, it was like, oh, it's Joe. I'm playing mahjong with Joe in the park. It was so fun, cool. to work with your friends. Yeah. It was amazing. But yeah, it's the film. It's these characters are complicated, and Katerina's direction was, keep it very simple. I don't want any overacting at all, because I want this thing to just sort of people see themselves in it. So that's sort of a comment on the way that maybe you felt like it wouldn't, you saw yourself in the role, maybe what you would do. Yeah. And so I understood that, and it wasn't like a hard-hitting drama where it's, played by these character actors. She wanted something really almost like flat. She was like, don't act, just say the lines, so that the tone of the film can be carried through with music, editing, and it's like it's her choice, right?
Yeah, and
it's
I think
her statement.
You took that note for sure. I think, it works very effectively.
Right,
that
right.
direction.